pros and cons of starting a business. So off the bat, con number one is just that it's so up and down, especially if you're somebody that goes all in. This is what you're doing. You have no other really source of income. This is just it. Like, you threw all the beans on this. And so it's up and down. It's not really going to be like mentally, financially, social, like everything. It's just complete roller coaster. So if you're someone that is looking for stability, or like quote unquote a better life where it's like stable passive income, I know a bunch of people start saying that, when you start, that's not going to be the case at all whatsoever. And so there's bad days most of the days, and then the good days that come, usually you make a bunch of sales, but a lot of it is really just like working up to making those sales, because you got to figure out what to sell. Most likely it's going to be a shitty product when you first think of it, and then you realize through feedback that I can make this better. And so a lot of the process is just, let me try to make this better, and then hopefully not fuck up and nobody hates the product, and then somebody might like it and say, we could probably do this better, and then you just keep building on that. When you make the sale, or a sale, or multiple amount of sales, whatever it might be, whenever you get money into your account, that's probably the best days. But then you realize there's expenses, and you really don't actually see that money unless it's like your super high ticket, and you just happen to make, a sale off the rip. You're not really touching that money. It's just all getting reinvested back, whether that be paid ads. And you got to figure out, how do you even get customers? How do you get people to give you that money? So, I mean, you can go warm outreach, people that you know. You can do social media stuff, but that takes forever. Unless you already have that following, it is very difficult to build that, especially in a world where everybody's trying to build that and everybody's seemingly the same, which I guess if you stand out, you can, make it better. But, it takes money typically to get clients, at least in a fast enough manner to where you can start to see growth. Going from like 0 clients to 5, you don't need to run paid ads, especially if you don't have that startup capital, you don't have that money. But that'll at least give you a certain window of room to where you can have a little bit of money that you can dump into a paid ad, and then hopefully within those warm outreach of like the 5 or so, 10 clients, whatever it might be, depending on whatever your interest is, or however much money that you want to start to run paid ads, or whatever it might be. They'll hopefully give you enough feedback, and that should be the goal of that warm outreach, to get them to give you enough feedback to actually make the product good. And so that way, when you do run paid ads and people pay you a little bit more, as opposed to your friends and family discount that you gave to the warm outreach, it's the best possible product for this moment. Obviously, it's still probably not a great product, but it's the best possible product. And then you won't feel as bad charging them a price, and they won't feel as bad to pay that price. Then you get that money from these strangers, and what do you do with it? You got to pay the bills that you have, and then you got to also still grow the company more, which takes more money. And so most of it's like, awesome, this is super cool, I learned something new, I made a sale. I'm not seeing any of that money. It came to me, hypothetically, I feel good that I did it, but I'm not seeing any of it. It's going right back in. So ups and downs of business. Con number 1. Pro number 1, I get to work in a beater. So like, that's kind of cool. I guess it's a little bit more comfortable. Everything that I'm doing is work from home. It kind of depends on the person that you are though, because if you're a person that doesn't like to work from home, or you like to be out and social and talk to people, then this is not for you. So you can start a business where you're out and about doing stuff. I'm kind of a mix of both. I like my space. I like privacy. I like just being independent, but then I also do miss days where I'm like, there's whole like weeks where I'm just not even out of the house, and I'm just like, oof, I need to go out and do something, but then I don't have the money to go actually out to do stuff, so I got to go out and not spend money, and then I'm worried about other people in friend groups trying to do stuff that requires spending money that I'll tag along, and if they do, then I gotta leave because I don't have the money, because I'm trying to dump it back into getting a new customer. So that's pro/con number 1 as well, but up to you, personal preference, I guess. Con number 2 is that you just don't know what you don't know, and a lot of it is just figuring out what you don't know. And so if you're not someone that's accustomed to, which I thought I was, and I'm not nearly as well adapted as I thought I was to being able to withstand uncertainty and the unknown, and being, what's the word I'm looking for? Stupid, basically. You just don't know shit. And so if you don't know that stuff, a lot of it is just feeling inferior and like feeling like, wow, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. This is not as easy as I hoped it would be, or as simple as I thought it would be. A lot of it is kind of like, it's not just as simple. There's more complexities to everything. And so you kind of just don't know that going in. And then as you do stuff, you realize there's more to it. So it's like, okay, I have this idea to make a pen. I'm going to create the best pen ever, and people use pens all the time. So there's a big demand for it. And I'm going to create the best one so everybody buys it. And then you're like, okay, all I have to do is just create a pen and then sell it to people. And it's like, well, there's a whole bunch of process in that. One, you have to create the pen. And then so you got to figure out, well, what colors do I want the pen? What kind of ink do I want to use? What kind of ballpoint is there? Am I going to have different ballpoint options? Some people like the skinny pens. Some people like the fatter ballpoint pens. Some people like this little grip here. Some people don't. Some people like the ones where you could push it. Some like the ones where you could slide it down. So am I going to have all these different options? With all these different options, I'm going to have to go to a manufacturer, because I don't have these parts in my closet over here that I can just manufacture pens. And if I do, that's going to take time and a bunch of money, which I got to end up paying for. So how do I know if people are going to buy it if I dump a whole bunch of money into it? Then let's say all of that process is figured out. Yeah, somehow had enough money to go contact a manufacturer, which have minimum amounts. So you have to pay a certain amount to get like a bulk order of like 1,000 pens, let's say. And let's say you figured all that out. You miraculously had enough money, whatever it might be. Now you got to figure out who the hell to give it to. And so you're like, okay, I'm just going to go sell it. Where? To who? How? Like, are you just going to walk up to random people and be like, do you want a pen? They're just like, not really. Then they're like, all right, well, how about if it's really cheap, just $1? And then they're like, whatever, I'll give you $1, which most of the times they'll say no. But let's say out of that time it says yes. If it costs you like $1 to make the pen, now you're selling it for $1. You didn't really make a profit, which is fine. You could get like better word of mouth if it really is that good of a product, which to be quite honest, at the start, it won't be again. But if it really is that good of a product, hopefully they'll tell their friend, some guy just gave me a pen. It's actually a really good pen. You should go check them out. Whatever. But then you have to have a platform to where that friend can actually go buy the pen. So now you got to go set up a website, and you got to maybe set up a landing page or like a business card or whatever it might be. Bunch of stuff you just got to figure out. And it's like, okay, there's just new objectives and things that are unlocked that you just didn't know about. And so a lot of it really isn't the fact that you don't know how to do it, but also the fact that you don't know about the things that you don't know how to do. And so you're figuring out what you don't know how to do while unlocking new stuff about what to do, and then having to figure out how to do that. So that's con number 2. You don't know what you don't know, and you feel stupid all the time. Con number 3 is that if you're not a home run hitter, it's probably not the best option. This is very similar to the idea of like going all in. So if you are starting out your business, a lot of it is just going to be like fail, 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 fail. And then eventually when you win, you kind of want that win to be as big as it is because you're failing so much. And so you're not, if you're thinking about it in terms of baseball, you're not a high batting average hitter that's hitting singles and getting on base all the time and just that's your forte, that's your thing. Like you're just hitting single, 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 double, maybe a homer every now and again. It's more like strikeout, 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 because you're trying to figure out, well, it's like, I have the idea, I want to be a home run hitter. Now you got to figure out how to hold a bat. You got to figure out, okay, well, what hand am I gonna be a lefty or a righty? Then what you find out is you step into the box and you're like, all right, obviously in my mind, all I got to do is swing the thing and it's coming at me. And then you realize it's faster than what you expected. And it's like, oh my gosh, I got to get down to timing. And then so all this time you're just failing, failing, failing. And then let's say you foul off a ball, foul tip it. It didn't completely fail, but it didn't really win, you know? And then so you finally are like, all right, I got this. Super cool. I'm gonna win. This is it. I got it down now. It's just like, I'll swing a little bit higher next time. And then you realize that it's not a batting machine anymore. That's just tossing you some fastballs. It's a pitcher, and now he can change where the ball goes. So before it was just a pitcher that was throwing it right down the middle. You finally timed it up. You got the timing thing down. But now it's location. So now you got to time up timing and location. So the next ball he throws in the dirt, and you're just swinging. You're like, what the hell? I didn't know it could do that. I didn't know you can just throw it wherever. And then so you swing at a ball in the dirt, and obviously you're not going to hit it because you suck still. And then so you finally figure out, like, all right, well, now I know that I got to figure out location. So you try to learn about that and how to figure out location. Then you finally figure that out. Okay, this is my strike zone. I'm going to swing at the pitches in the zone, let the pitches go there out of the zone. You finally get that up. You foul a ball off that's in the zone. You start taking some balls that are out of the zone. You're like, cool, I got this. It's only a matter of time before I hit a home run. Then you step into a box. Maybe you took 3 balls, fouled off 2. It's 3-2 now. All of a sudden, pitcher just hangs a nice curveball, and you're just not expecting it. Even though it's right down the middle, he hung it. But you just weren't expecting that thing to dip. You saw it high. You were like, oh, I'm going to take the ball. It drops right into the zone. Strike 3. You're out. You failed again. And so you're like, I didn't know the ball can spin. I didn't know it could dip. And you're just figuring that out. On and on and on. But my whole point to this long analogy is that pretty much you're just going to be failing and feeling inferior. And unless you have that growth mindset of like, I just need to keep learning, even though I'm just hitting 0, 0, 0, and hopefully I can figure it out fast enough to where I don't completely get pulled and drop down to AA by the end of this, just to keep it the baseball analogy. But hopefully you can stay in there long enough to finally hit your home run. And the point of it is that once you finally get a ball that you can hit for a home run, you don't want to miss. And so there's pressure on top of that as well. And you want that home run ideally to be when all the bases are loaded, right? You want that to count because you did all this freaking work. It would suck if it was just a solo shot. Obviously, it's still a win. It's good. But then you got to keep doing it. And it's like, you want to get the biggest bang for your buck. If you're going to fail, which the name of the game is kind of home run or bust, at least in business, there really isn't such thing as like single, at least at the start. Once you get up and you're crossing the $1 million mark a year or whatever, or not, whatever that number might be. I don't know. Whatever it is for you, then you can start playing it more safe, just chugging along, hitting singles. Just get on base. Single. Keep chopping away, keep scoring runs, play some small ball. But when you're starting out, you just got to hit them home runs because you're not hitting anything. And so if you're going to hit something, you might as well make it big. So con number 3 is that you have to be a home run hitter. There's no real option if you're starting that business. And so if you're going to hit a home run, you have to make it big. And you do that by making whatever you're doing the best possible thing it can be, and while targeting the right people in the right opportunities. Pro number 2, just to get away from the cons, is that, again, it really depends on the type of person. But the fact that you can kind of always be learning and growing, and there's always something new. And so typically at most jobs, you learn a job function, and then you're just repeating that function, which for certain types of people is great. They love to just, this is stable, I know what I'm doing, and I can just master this craft. And that's awesome. That's great. But when you're starting a business, that's not the case. You have to just keep learning, and you have to kind of wear all hats is what they say. You have to wear like the sales hat, the marketing hat, the product development hat, all the hats. And so, you know, you can either be a master, what do they say? You can either be a jack of all trades and an ace at none, or you can be a master at one. So, you know, you have to just be a jack of all trades, and hopefully being the jack is enough to make it good enough. And then after that, hopefully you can have enough money to hire people that are masters at their craft and let them take it. But you have to be comfortable with the fact that even if you are a master at one thing, that's not a business. That is self-employment. And there's a difference, because you can be really good at one thing, but a business isn't going to thrive on one thing. Can it be okay? Sure, I guess. But let's say, again, using the pen example, let's say you're really good at product development and you can make the best pen ever, and then you just don't know how to sell it. You're not good at selling. You're not good at marketing. You can't get clients. It doesn't matter how good that pen is if you can't actually sell it. right? So, I mean, obviously everything kind of overlaps into each other, but the idea is that you want to be well-rounded. You want to make everything as well-rounded as possible. And so for someone that isn't well-rounded, you have to learn that. And so it's either you learn that or you fail. And so, you know, you can be okay. So let's say you're really good at selling and you just create like a really shitty pen. Yeah, you could probably do okay. But then at the end of the day, no one's going to like re-buy another pen once the ink is out. So you can keep selling to new people, but then eventually you're going to hit a constraint, and the constraint's not going to be quite high because you just got to keep selling and selling and selling and selling and selling. Give that 5 years, bro. You're going to be sick of selling pens. And at that point, you're not a business owner. You're a pen seller. There's a difference. So pro/con, but pro, I think, in my opinion, number 2 of running a business or owning a business or starting a business is that you get to keep learning and you get to be a jack of all trades. And when I first started, I never knew the difference between sales and marketing. Didn't know. I thought they were all the same thing. Marketing and sales, whatever. So it just goes to show you how little I knew and then how little I still know, because there's so much that I still need to learn. And it's a little bit frightening because, again, you don't know what you don't know. But it's also fun once you start to learn and you start to see and reap the benefits of your learning. So ups and downs, but in my opinion, pro, if you can manage the emotions. I think that's pretty much it for right now. The video is already 17 minutes long, but that's some pros and cons to starting your own business. You can make the decision for yourself. If you understand yourself as a person, which again, I think self-awareness is the only character trait anyone needs ever. And so if you don't have that, in my opinion, you're screwed. And if you can develop self-awareness, you will be more than okay. And just as a side tangent, I believe that because let's say the only thing you have is self-awareness, you're self-aware that you're not disciplined, and so you can become disciplined. If you're self-aware, you can become anything you want to be, good, or you can take away the bad. If you're self-aware that you're egotistic, you can take the trait of egotism and just eliminate that from your body. But let's say that you're not self-aware and you're egotistic, that can be a downfall. And so you'll be ruined from that. So I think, in my opinion, self-awareness is the only character trait you need. And if you are self-aware and you know yourself, you can decide for yourself if starting a business or being self-employed, whatever the case might be right for you or not, because it's not really for everyone. I don't even know if it's for me still. We'll see. But that's kind of it for this video. Anyways, those were the small list of pros and cons for starting a business.